6:30 on Monday, July 26, 2021. I'd like to call the regular school board meeting of the Winton Woods School Board to order. First item on the agenda, if everybody, there's not a huge audience here, but we'll silence our cell phones and any electronic devices. And the next thing we'll do is if everybody could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Mr. Seymour, would you call the roll?
Dr. Johnson, Mr. McGowans,
Present.
Mr. Birdie,
Present.
Dr. Cupoletti,
Present.
Mrs. Ruggless.
Next on the agenda is district honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions. Mr. Smith, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes. Mr. Birdie, the acting president for tonight. AG Parts Worldwide donated approximately $2,000 in personal protective equipment, floor decals, plexiglass, dark desk shields, safety masks, hand sanitizer, nitrile gloves, and sanitizer wipes. They're not here today, but we did send them a certificate and a plaque, and hopefully they will get it very, very soon. And if you see anyone from AG Parts that you know, thank them because we really appreciate their contribution. The next one is Northrop Grumman. They contributed $2,000 for the purchase of a Padlet software, a collaborative web platform that we've been trying to get for a while. We told them about it, and they were very eager and very supportive. And those are all the district honors, recognitions, gifts, and intros for tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. Next on the agenda is a recess, but if no one has an objection, I think we'll just go ahead and skip that. We have no public comments that I'm aware of, so we will go straight to, do we have a representative from the Winton Woods Teachers Association here tonight? No? Do we have the Ohio Association of Public School Employees representative? I know we do have her here. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's just an honor to be here since I've been gone for a while. I want to say thank you to the members in the association and our association members and everything that everyone done for me during my family bereavement. I want to say thank you. It was definitely seen. I understand the love and friendship and my members. I just want to say thank you. And tonight, OC would like to honor our Vice President, Honorable Letos. And we also would like to introduce our Secretary, Feliciana Smith. And our acting treasurer cannot be here tonight. But these are our new members, our new officers of OC for the school year this year. We are excited about the new school year and the new buildings, and we just want to say thank you for giving us an opportunity to be here tonight.
And thank you for all you do, and we appreciate you coming to the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Other members of OPSI, when they were introduced previous years, I'm looking at my notes, they sung a song. So do you guys have anything? Okay, all right, okay. Just want to make sure. I know they usually sung a song, and it was just incredible. We teared up afterwards, so.
This is a dream team.
Okay, all right, I'm just checking. I'm just checking.
We have you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I have to clap it out. We have you.
Okay, very good.
They are aware of how this works.
Okay, and Mr. Birdie, you said moving along, right?
Yes, moving along. We'll move on to item 6.01, which is approval of the minutes. We'll accept a motion to approve the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any need for discussion? Mr. Seymour, would you take the vote?
Mr. McGowans,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti.
Aye.
The vote has been taken and motion has passed. Next item on the agenda is Treasurer's Report 7.01, Financial Statements for June of 2021.
Yes, we ended the last fiscal year with total year-to-date revenues in the general fund at $52.4 million. we had expenditures in the general fund right at 52 million. Expenditures for FY '21, we saw a 1.8% increase over the prior year. We ended the year with a $4.5 million savings under budget. This year, with the revenues at 52.4 and the expenditures at 52, the general fund cash balance increased by 400,000. The main reason for that was a rebate from Bureau of Workers' Comp in the amount of around $750,000, which we'll not see again. But it was a rebate from the Bureau of Workers' Comp to all government agencies. Our year-to-date financial activity for all funds, the funds ended the year with approximately $34 million, $17 million in the general fund, $5 million still in the building fund, and $9 million still in classroom facilities. And that's basically a summary of the financials for the year-to-date through June of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. And just a note, I was looking back at some prior years, and you had indicated that 2021, the total expenditures were $52 million in the general fund. And if you look back to 2019, the total expenditures were $51,718,000. I mean, so you're looking at less than a $300,000 increase in total expenditures for the district over the last 2 years on an annual basis. So
Right.
I think that goes to what we're trying to do is being good stewards with the taxpayers' funds. So thank you for your work, Mr. Seymour, and everyone else's, Mr. Smith. With that, the financial statements will be presented for file for audit.
Okay. And then the investments for the month of June, we had $34 million invested, and we earned $5,293 on the month of June, of which $4,000 was general fund and $1,000 building fund. And as you know, interest rates and idle cash is not giving you a lot of money right now. But interest on investments for the year totaled $463,000. We earned $148,000 in the general fund, $54,000 in the building fund, and $261,000 in classroom facilities for the entire year. But as you know, towards the end of the year, we've had to redeem out and put them all in liquid cash to pay off the buildings.
Yeah, so that won't reoccur. We won't see
Right.
that again. All right, thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Right.
A motion to approve the investment report would be in
I'd
order.
like to make a motion to approve the investment report as presented.
The motion has been has been made and seconded. Any comments, questions? Mr. Seymour, please take the vote.
Mr. McGowan's?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
And the motion passes. Next item is Mr. Seymour, awarding of depository contracts.
Yes, every 5 years, the district must award depository contracts for all of our interim and active funds. And this year, I'm requesting that we award the contract to Fifth Third Bank, Meter Investments, and Star Ohio for all active and interim funds of the district. And this will be for a period of 5 years through July 31st of 2026. This can always be amended, though.
Okay.
We can always add another depository or change depositories. We would just need to get approval from the board and a depository agreement from the institution.
Okay. And this is just something that's naturally done every 5 years, based on
Right.
Ohio Revised Code.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Seymour. A motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following financial institutions as depositories for district for active and interim funds for the period August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2026. Active and interim would be Fifth Third Bank, interim Meter Investments, and Star Ohio.
I'd like to second the motion.
Yeah, there's been a motion made and seconded. Any questions or comments? Mr. Seymour, please take the vote.
Mr. McGowan's?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
And Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
The vote has been taken, and it is passed. Next item on the agenda is reports of the superintendent, 901, school reports.
Yes, President Birdie, and board. So you guys are going to receive invitations to the ribbon cutting. You'll also receive invitations to the professional development. Professional development, gentleman, goes on for a couple of weeks. You don't have to attend all of them, but it would really be good if the board came to hear some of the professional development opportunities that are being made to teachers. You guys will have a full comprehensive schedule, pop in as you like. But for the ribbon cutting, we hope that you guys do attend because we are scheduled for you guys to say a few words at the ceremony. So we will send you dates, times, and everything for your convenience.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And then next on the agenda, we move the facilities update, right?
Yes, sir.
We will go to the superintendent's recommendations, personnel schedules.
Okay, we have to go back, Mr. B, to the,
Oh, policies.
yes, sir.
First read on the policies.
Yes. So these are all first reads, and look at these carefully because they do have some different language. You'll see the green language has been included for recommendations by Neola. The first one is blended learning. That's a very hot topic. The second one is administration, anti-harassment. The third one is non-discrimination of access to equal educational opportunities. The next one is professional staff, anti-harassment. The replacement policies for classified staff is anti-harassment as well. And then there's one for students, anti-harassment. So you will see professional staff, classified staff, and students all on anti-harassment policies. There's 3362, 4362, and 5517. The next one is ADA prohibition against discrimination based on disabilities. And then the next one is non-discrimination on the basis of sex in district programs or activities. Very hot topic when you're talking about athletics and Title IX. So that probably will create a very robust conversation at our next work session and possible board meeting. And then the final one is care of students with diabetes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 of them are companion policies that kind of go together because the language is really the same, but the other ones are very separate and different. So the recommendation, of course, there is no recommendation. It's more of a conversation about the 7 or 9 policies that will be coming up for the, voting on the next board meeting.
All right, so these are first reads, so
Yes, sir.
we'll vote on these at the next board meeting. Thank you. Now we'll move to superintendent recommendations 10.01, personnel schedules.
Yes, the recommendation, President Birdie and board, is to approve the personnel schedules as presented, Schedule A, B, C, D, and E. You will notice on the first schedule, you will notice that there's been a transition, a lot of transition of staff. And I've checked with colleagues across the state, and that same theme is being played out everywhere, where people just, COVID was just overwhelming as far as staff being able to endure it, keep moving through it. Some people have gone on because of salary differences. Some people, they were talking about health issues, and others were kind of looking at this recurring theme. Are we going to have to do blended, virtual? Are we going to be able to jump through all these hoops while I really work on my craft of teaching kids? So we received a lot of interest in our district about new teachers and new hires. These are all replacements, and other districts, of course, have had the same opportunity. But this has been a very unusual situation. More superintendents and assistant supes have transitioned more than any other group because they have been inundated with a lot of responsibilities about taking care of, the nation's children. So the recommendations to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
Board, a motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
I'd like to second that motion.
Been a motion and a second. Any comments, questions? Mr. Seymour, take the vote.
Mr. McGowan's,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
and Dr. Cupoletti.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is 10.02, exempt employee salary schedule.
Yes, President Bertie, you will see the recommendations to approve the exempt employee salary schedule effective August 1st, 2021. The schedule has been reviewed and reviewed again by me and the treasurer. So if you have comments or suggestions or ideas, we would appreciate it if you could give us feedback now.
Go ahead and get a motion on the floor first, and then
I'll make a motion to approve the exempt employee salary schedule effective August 1st, 2021, as presented.
I'd like to second it.
motion has been made and seconded. The only comment I would make is in looking at this, comparing it to the last schedule we had, there's no changes in the dollar amount for these job classes. We've got the elimination of a supervising cook and the addition of a food service campus supervisor.
Yeah, and that comes up at the next.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That's the only change.
Right.
And the job description you're getting ready to approve.
Right, okay. With that being said, Mr. Seymour, would you please take the vote?
Mr. McGowan's,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
and Dr. Cupoletti.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item is the job description for the food service campus supervisor, item 10.03.
Yes, President Bertie and Board, we realized that we needed to be more comprehensive, so it needed to be a food service campus supervisor, since that's what we are classified as. The lunches are different, the times are different, even though kids are under the same roof, they still have separate opportunities as it relates to lunch. Bus schedules are different, departure is different, arrival is different, lunch is different, and it takes a more technical person to get all the lunches and everything ready for a full campus with distributed dining as opposed to a regular traditional cafeteria. So here's just one of the essential pieces. The food service campus supervisor, under the direction of the food service director, oversees campus-wide food service activities, including distributive dining services for students, evening and weekend catering events, scheduling, assigning duties to and managing campus food service personnel, inspecting and scheduling routine maintenance, and ensuring the repair of campus food service equipment, requisition of food and supplies, and performing skilled cooking. These are well beyond the scope of a regular person. So there needs to be somebody with a little more technical skills. And so reading on guides campus meal production, adhering to temperature, portion size, and nutrition guidelines, ensures timely, economical, and efficient food service preparation, adhering to campus distributive dining schedule, implementing inventory control measures, including ordering, repurposing food, produce, dairy, and bread products weekly, and maintains employee records to assist food service director with performance appraisals. So not only is this person going to be the food service op, they're also going to help with some of the appraisals and evaluations of the employees. So again, it takes a person with a different skill set rather than I can cook. It has to be something more on the nutritious side, because I think that periodically we may get people to come and visit to see, are you really operating with the integrity of the food service program, because nutrition becomes our main objective at this point. So there you go.
Thank you. Mr. Smith? We do not need to vote on this, right, Mr. Seymour? Or do we? We do?
The
Okay.
job description, yes.
Yeah, okay. We'll need a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the job description, food service campus supervisor.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Mr. Seymour, please take the vote.
Mr. McGowan's,
Aye.
Mr. Birdie,
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is item 10.04, job description, supervisor of state and federal programs testing.
Yes, President Bertie, this job description was, this particular job was actually being handled by the executive directors, and I can tell you, based on the responsibility and the expectations from the Ohio Department of Education, it needs to be a separate entity. This is actually going to be funded out of ESSER funds, so it does not come from the general fund. And that was something that ODE gave us the opportunity to say, based on what we're asking you to do, you can take this from another source. And so we've been privileged to be able to do that along with other districts. So the major piece is the duties and responsibilities. They've all changed. They have grown expeditiously. Supervises all aspects of the state and federal programs, all categorical programs, including student identification, classification, data gathering, program evaluation, district-wide, presents information to the superintendent on issues related to state and federal programs. So here are other responsibilities. Title I, improving basic programs. Title II, supporting effective instruction. Title III, language instruction for English learners and immigrant students. Title IV, student support and academic enrichment. IDEA, special education. IDEA, early childhood education. ESSER, elementary and secondary education, COVID relief, high schools at work. And so there's another laundry list of all the other things that this person would do. We thought that having it assigned to teaching and learning through the teaching and learning directors would absolutely have been an enormous stretch. So having the opportunity now to have it as a separate executive director of teaching, report to the executive director of teaching and learning, it gives them some flexibility where the executive directors have the opportunity to go and monitor classrooms more often as opposed to doing testing cycles.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. A motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the policy PO
This is
5511.
this is the job description for the supervisor of state and federal programs testing. 10.04.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description for supervisor of state and federal programs testing.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Mr. Seymour, would you take the vote?
Mr. McGowan?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Vote, motion passes. Moving on to 10.05, the policy PO 5511.01, student school uniform policy for the 2021-2022 school year.
Yes, President Birdie and board, we had a lot of conversations with parents about school uniform. And there are parents who are very, very happy that the school uniform process exists. But their real concern was, how do we address the idea of spirit wear? So we've made some modifications to it. As long as you have the spirit wear promoting Winton Woods City Schools, it does not have to be the white shirt, the blue shirt, the green shirt. If it's spirit wear, then we're saying you're part of our team. And the kids have been very, very happy and very, very excited about it. Because you guys know that parents have made some purchases, and it's been a struggle. They've made purchases on spirit wear, but it had to be only worn on Spirit Wear Day. Right. And parents are saying, well, isn't this part of who you are? And I think it's more of a representation than a white shirt. A Winton Woods logo shirt has more feeling for it to me than a white shirt or a blue shirt or a green shirt. So I think it kind of creates this whole attitude about the spirit is every day, and we're part of the spirited opportunity with Winton Woods City Schools. So the only thing that's changed is spirit wear. Now, it can't be a kid getting a Sharpie writing Winton Woods Warriors on a shirt and thinking that's going to make it. No, it has to be something a little more developed than that. And the other thing, what would be odd, guys, it would be odd if we opened a great spirit store, but we didn't let you wear the spirit gear. That would be counterproductive of what we do. So we always have to be a product of our own product. And so this uniform policy, parents are going to be very, very happy that spirit wear continues to be part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Board, we need a motion.
Okay, I'm ready for it this time.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve policy PO 5511-01, student school uniform policy for the 2021-2022 as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further comments or questions? Mr. Seymour, will you take the vote?
Mr. McGowan?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
And Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Motion has been passed. Mr.
I do have one comment, Mr. B. Imagine walking in the North Campus or South Campus and you see, all the kids with spirit wear on. I think that's just a glorious feeling that they believe in their school. So, good thing.
Absolutely. Next item on the agenda is, are we doing the facilities with?
Yeah, we're combining two.
I changed it. Doing a facilities update and the Winton Woods Primary South and Winton Woods Elementary Demo Bid Award.
You're up.
Mr. Denny?
Thanks so much, Mr. Birdie. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope everyone's having a good evening. And it's my opportunity just to give a brief update, and then we'll bridge right into the superintendent's recommendations. So Mr. Smith asked if I'd just provide an update on progress at North and South Campus. The buildings have been completed since March and February respectively, but we're still working on the site work. So you probably saw as you came in, or you have seen, we've got a lot of progress. The building here at the high school, the middle school is completely removed. The soil's been completely recompacted. The stormwater drainage system has been put in. All the precast concrete and everything is in place down there. They're getting very close to putting in curbs, and we should start to see asphalt hopefully in the very near future.
Great.
Here at the North Campus, they started 2 months later. They're really pushing aggressively to try to get parking lots in place by the start of school. So we're going to, hope for good weather.
Yeah.
We're going to hope for no soil compaction issues, or where they have to recompact soil and things of that nature. But we're hopeful. So the weather's really been cooperative. We had a week where we had some bad rain, but we've got some cooperative weather the last 10 days. So hopefully that continues. So that's the basic update just on progress at the 2 new campuses. But of course, our facilities master plan continues to move forward. And to that end, we have what brings us to the recommendation portion tonight, which is we received bids on July 7th for the demolition of Primary South and also Winton Woods Elementary School. So that is what you should have before you as attachments. A letter from the architect basically recommending that the firm Alpha Demolition was the lowest, most responsible bidder in the pool of 13 bids. We were very pleased that we had 13 participating bidding firms. That is, I think, the highest number I've seen in a demolition bid, so that was really
Yeah, people are
good
just
news.
interested in just tearing things down now, sir.
Yeah, seems to be the way.
That's fun.
Here we are. So I'll just, if I could, briefly just reference a couple points of interest in the second attachment, which should look like this, landscaped. It's a bid tabulation form. And just a couple things to point out that I think are worth noting, and also that our community might have some interest in. The bids were actually estimated, because that's part of the requirement for when you post a public bid, at a total combo. We'll just stick with the combo to keep the math easier, or the conversations easier. So $674,500 was the combination. And then the state and our facilities master plan, again, I think it's important to emphasize that the dollars that fund this come from the bond that passed in 2016, so there's not a general fund commitment. It's from the bond, and the other dollar-for-dollar match, so 50 cents on every dollar, is from the state of Ohio. So there's basically a one-to-one match there, 49 cents on every dollar to be completely precise. But the state's picking up about half the cost, and you can see the state's hard cost master plan budget estimate was $754,000. So we were estimating it would come in less than that, and the bids indeed actually came in, bids actually came in at $674,000. So we were pretty pleased with where the bids actually came in. The combo was actually the most economical option. So that is what the recommendation is to approve the bid contract, the bid award for Alpha Demolition. And you can see the total amount is $540,000, which comes in substantially less, over $200,000 less than the estimated cost by the state. So we're really pleased about that.
Mr. Digg, before
Mr.
the
Smith.
board gives its recommendation, can you just enlighten us with why the timing is so crucial right now as it relates to demolition?
Sure, you mean with Primary South and the elementary school
Yeah.
proceeding? Yeah, we just have, there's a master plan in place, and if we want to go ahead and achieve those targets, with that property has value. When the appraisers came through, they basically said, unfortunately, and this is true for a lot of districts, it's not just a Winton Woods
Yes.
problem. This is true for most districts that have older buildings. Our buildings are 50 and 60 years old. They basically said, unfortunately, your property is worth more without the building on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so in order to advance whatever the board's decision might ultimately be with the disposition of those properties, it's in the best interest of the community, the district, the taxpayers, that those buildings aren't there. In addition to that, not only does it potentially open up avenues of investment and revenue for the district, but it eliminates extra cost. We've done a lot of studies on buildings that sit fallow, right? A building that just sits empty, not being utilized. You still have to cut the grass, pay the insurance, keep the heat on, keep the electric on, keep basic repairs in place. All of that totals for a building not even being used in our district at around $50,000 a year, $45,000 to $50,000 in
Yeah,
expenditures per
I
year.
think one of the major things that you were able to work with the board on is to let them see a school that should have been demolished.
Yes.
And what it looks like. The school will never get better unless you put time, money, energy, and all those other things into it. So when we looked at, what was it? What was the building that we toured together?
Forest View.
Forest View. Forest View was not possible. And I think that when you hear a lot of comments from the community, hey, why are you getting rid of this building? I think it was very important for the board to see this is why. And I think it came back with 100% certainty that this should come down like as soon as possible.
Right.
So, thank you.
Absolutely. And I believe you even pointed out at one point about that building in particular, it closed in, I believe, 96?
Yes.
Maybe 98, and it stayed in operation for quite a few years after that. Now, there were different purposes for it, right? But ultimately, that could have been a lot of money that was saved.
Right.
And we don't want to miss that opportunity again. So we're trying to operate as lean and mean as possible. I think that's what the community
Very good.
expects of us.
Very
Especially
good.
with the contribution from the state.
Absolutely.
To go ahead and take care of this. It's
Absolutely.
not all on us.
Because we would end up doing this on our own.
Right.
Yes. Very good.
Dr. Kabula?
Can you tell us the timing of initiation and completion of the demolition?
Yes, I might have to get back to you on completion of the demolition, but I do know, in working with the state, their goal when these bid specifications were put together was to begin or issue a notice of commencement or a notice to proceed to the firm between December 31st and August 3rd. So it's pending the board's favorable approval of this. The notice to proceed, which is issued by the state, because the state and the district are co-owners on this project,
So that'll be next school year.
could be next week.
Oh, between,
It-
you
yeah.
said December?
July 31st and August 3rd of this year.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah, I thought you said August to December or December to
I mean,
August as well.
hopefully I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
misspeak.
No,
I'm sorry
he's
if I
got
did.
it.
Yeah. So basically next week with the board's favorable approval of this.
will there be consequences to the school environment while they're tearing it down?
There won't be any
Absolutely.
students there, right?
No.
To be
Uh,
finished?
All the students at Primary South have been relocated to the South Campus.
Okay.
All of the students at the elementary school have been relocated to the South Campus.
And this will stay here,
When you say this, I'm sorry.
the high school? I'm sorry, this doesn't include the high school.
No, not at all.
The high school's
High
pretty
school's
much
almost
down.
done.
Yeah, the high school
You
is,
go back there, yeah, it's not there.
I'd say it's 90% gone. There have been 40 to
Yeah.
60 trucks per day headed
Thank
out.
you.
They're still starting
Absolutely.
Yeah.
over there, but most of the
I think
building,
I
the
think
building's pretty much gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other part, Mr. Denny, is we're used to being on the live air with families that are dealing with homes, and I think the part that you made is very important. Usually, when people are selling their houses, you would be shocked if someone said your house is probably worth more demolished. Okay,
Right.
that should be giving you a close sign. But in this business world, when you talk about the land acquisition, it's more valuable with the building being leveled.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, a
Okay.
potential developer looks at that as a liability that they have to deal with.
You're
and pay
absolutely
for,
correct.
And without that there, it opens up investment opportunities more readily.
Forest View was not an investment in my opinion.
Right.
It was something that needed to happen. So I'm glad we got through that one without any abnormal activities.
Forest View was a liability,
Absolutely.
definitely
Well
a
said.
liability.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Denny.
Thank you.
Board, we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Winton Woods Primary South and Winton Woods Elementary Demo Bid Award as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Any further questions or comments? Mr. Seymour, will you take the vote?
Mr. McGowan's?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
And Dr. Cupoletti?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Denny.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we will move on to Board of Education reports, 11.01 Legislative Report. Mr. Smith, did you have something you wanted to share?
No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you guys the latest report. We are still having a lot of conversations with other superintendents across the state, be it mask, no mask. That's the major issue. There are some considerations that says that you cannot mandate people to do any of this, especially the vaccine. So we have to be very careful of what we put out as far as our literature is concerned. But I'm having an updated meeting on Friday, and I will send that to you guys. We meet every Friday at 7:45. So I will send that to you guys so you know exactly where we are with the opening of school.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next item is the Great Oaks report, which is me, and I sent out an email earlier today, which includes the normal documents that I send, the board highlights, the most recent message from Mr. Harry Snyder, the president and CEO of Great Oaks, his report. They also provide a legislative report, one specific to Career Tech, which is the ACT report. There's also a Diversity and Unity report in that packet. We had one Winton Woods student from Scarlet Oaks recognized, Crochet Miles, who's a veterinary assistant who placed third in veterinary science at the
Amazing.
HOSA regional competition, which the HOSA stands for Health Occupation Students of America. And that concludes my report. With that, I don't believe we have any additional board recommendations. We do need to appoint delegate and an alternate delegate to the Ohio School Board Association Convention on November 7th through the 9th of this year. I am going to be the delegate, and Mr. McGowan's will serve as the alternate delegate.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to comments. Mr. Smith, do you have any additional comments you'd like to make tonight?
I would just like to say that the vaccine opportunities have been moving in the right direction. And if you listen to anything from the CDC, they really speak about the people that have not been vaccinated are the ones who are having some struggles along the way. So we're actually going to be working with Mercy, and this is not just for a student opportunity. We're going to be working with Mercy to create 2 more vaccine clinics opportunities before school starts. We'd like to give everybody the opportunity to move in that direction. Unfortunately, they've not made the vaccine available for students 12 and under, but we could at least take care of the population of our teens and our adults. So that's what's on the horizon for right now.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Seymour?
No, thank you.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes, as we were talking this evening and as we talk every time we have a board meeting, I just want to thank Mr. Smith and Mr. Seymour about how much information you share with not only the board but also the community. Anything that has to do with financials, anything that has to do with anything that concerns the school district, you guys are very upfront. I don't think anybody can ever say that they're caught off guard by anything that happens within the Winton Woods School District. And I appreciate that. I know the public appreciates that, and I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge both of you guys this evening.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan. Dr. Cupoletti?
I really don't have any specific comments except to thank everyone in administration and the teachers for the job they've done this year. It's just been fantastic. Such a thing to watch and to experience. It's amazing. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cupoletti. And I'll just echo the thank you to everybody involved in this past school year. I know it was very difficult time, and, you know, having everybody pull together to make it work as well as it possibly could work is just a testament to the dedication of the people that are in, you know, in this school district serving the children in the community. I've heard the same thing as far as the unvaccinated people, and I know there's not a mandate, but everything that I'm also hearing is that well into the 90% of the people that are currently experiencing severe illness or hospitalization are the unvaccinated that are having that issue. So, you know, I know everybody has to make their own decision, but I think the data speaks for itself for the most part. And outside of that, I'll thank Mr. Seymour and Mr. Smith as well. And with that, that closes my comments. I do not believe we have any need to go into an executive session. So with that, I will call the Winton Woods School Board meeting for July 26, 2021 adjourned. Thank you.